Hi YouTube. This is Charisma and this is my healing journey. Yeah, I'm just not I've been I'm not in a good space right now because I'll just come out and say it. I worked for a company and working 40 plus hours and they refused to pay me. So, I'm in a situation where I can't I'm being a what's called a registered behavior technician. And honestly, if I knew what I knew getting into the industry, just trying to work with children, work with special needs children who have autism in the school system, at home, and in the clinics, I would have never got into the industry, not because I don't love what I do, but because I've never faced as much abuse, as much instability in my finances, and so much abuse and nasty maltreatment on the job by teachers, by parents, by agencies. And so that's the situation right now I'm in. I worked for this agency, and I've worked 40 plus hours, and they just decided they wasn't going to pay me my money. So how can I be a welfare queen? How can I be lazy and all of these things when it's like I've tried to do everything that I could do as far as working, as far as taking care of myself. And it's like I can't catch a break and I don't know what to do or who to go to because I'm an independent contractor. I'm not an employee of this organization. So there's no regulatory body I can go to or anything like that. They just won't pay me my money. Like they refuse to pay me my money. And basically how everything ended up happening was I had did all these hours. They want all of their paperwork. It's paper data. I worked there and they didn't tell me that I would have to be taking paper data and writing paper notes on a computer until 3 weeks after I got hired, when they gave me a case, which was an hour and a half away from where I was. But I didn't complain and I took it. And I told them I don't know how I'm gonna be able to get the paperwork in on time. I don't have a printer. I don't have a scanner. And they were just like, that's your problem. You need to figure it out. And you can't come to the office and print. It's like they did everything they could so that I would I would fail. There were the office staff, the owner of the company was so nasty to me, so mean to me. I would email them, I wouldn't receive any responses. I would call and they would say, I'll get back to you. And then they would never get back. They would lie and say that they had given me information to the owner that I would never got. I should have quit the first time when my paycheck was messed up and they left off a couple of hours on purpose and I had to call the owner and it was nothing but gaslighting and manipulation. Well, you didn't turn in the paperwork on time and you just ruined everything and that's what you get. And I explained to her that I explained to her office staff that, look, I can't turn in the paperwork on time because I don't have a printer of my own. I can't afford to go out and buy a printer. I have no money. So, I had just gotten fired, let go from another agency I had worked at. And honestly, I'm not fired. They just canceled my contract and wouldn't give me another assignment because I ended up getting physically assaulted by a staff member and berated and harassed in front of children in the cafeteria. I tried to go to the principal and tell them, and they just was like, get back to work. You can take a break, but you need to get back to work. And I said, I can't go back in there because I don't feel safe. I tried to get the supervisor on the case switch me to another school. And I kid you not, in 2 days, it was the same abusive behavior from teachers. not letting me do my job, not even letting me take breaks, not letting me go to lunch. I tried to have a conversation with the supervisors and tell them we need to have a talk. Her thing was, well, it's too early to be having any type of restorative conversation, and you need to do as you're told. But the things they were doing, telling me to do, were harmful to the child. They just really just wanted me taking up space and do as you're told, and to change his diapers, and don't complain and don't say nothing. And when we need you as an extra body at recess and lunch, then go with him. But as far as doing my job to change his behaviors as a registered behavior technician, a lot of times the teachers, if you're working in a school, they won't relinquish control of the situation. If they don't have control, and if you don't do what they say, then it's hell to pay, and they'll try to get you fired. These are things I didn't understand going into it. They will get you fired. There is no protection for paraprofessionals who work for agencies. Um, and if you say, I'm not comfortable with this isn't in my job description, then you're just out of there. And 9 times out of 10, the agencies aren't going to have your back. And why say, well, why don't you just work for a school directly? Because when you work for a school directly as a registered behavior technician, most schools don't hire registered behavior technicians through the school. They'll hire a PCA who they can pay $17, $18 an hour, versus a registered behavior technician who works through an agency. We get paid more, but we don't get benefits. There's no PTO. There's nothing. There's no type of job security. It's really, your job is hinged on the whims of somebody else, whether they like you, whether they don't like you, whether they want you in their classroom, whether they don't want you in your classroom. And it's just horrible. And the agency I'm telling you that did not pay me, that's exactly what ended up happening. The teacher wanted me to do things that were not in my job description. I went back and told the agency, the owner, and she told me, don't do those things. And the teacher began stalking me, like I was trying to step out and have a conversation with the agency to figure out what to do. She followed me. She began lying to me, to other paraprofessionals in the classroom, saying that I stole things from them. She was taking up my personal space. She was in my personal space where I would have to step back, and she would come closer. She was looking at my things, like taking clipboards out of my hand that had protected health information of the client, his notes from the agency that had nothing to do with the school. And just, I felt totally like, this isn't safe. I need to leave. So when the agency said leave, fine. But when I went back and did 40 hours at the home, and then I don't know what happened. Like, I had been trying to get another school case with her, and the conversation was via email. And all I know is that I got a nasty email and was like, you're not getting paid for this week because you didn't turn in the paperwork on time. And I totally take ownership. I've been late on the paperwork twice. 2 times. The first time because I didn't have a printer, and this time I was late. But what happened was, the second pay period where that pay would be going on, I was able to get that in on time. And so basically that was out of 40 hours, they wasn't going to pay me for 5. So I called the agency owner trying to get clarification on what she's talking about, because I didn't even know who I was talking about. Because what happens is, the administration team, in order to hide their identity, they will send nasty messages to me through the administration team email, and so they don't reveal their name. So I called the owner, was like, I got this email, what's going on? She was like, was you late on the paperwork? I said I was late for 1 week, but the last week I was not. And she wouldn't even let me finish talking. Well, that's what you get. And now I gotta go. And don't you understand? We have to check all this paperwork and this, that, and the third. And she's just doing her job, and wouldn't even let me talk, wouldn't let me get a word in. And I was just finally, I just had to say, look, I got to get off this phone. I don't feel like you're respecting me. You're yelling at me. I got to get off this phone. I don't like how I'm being spoken to. It's disrespectful. Oh, so now you don't want to talk. I'm trying to have a civil conversation with you about business. How dare you try to get off this phone when I'm trying to tell you that I will pay you and I will make an exception this time. But now you want to get off the phone. I said, yeah, because you're talking to me in a manner that I don't feel comfortable staying on this phone being talked to like this, being talked to like an animal. And she's like, well, I'm going to call in the paychecks company and get it paid this one time. And I was like, well, you have to understand that I never knew that I had to take paper data until after I got a case 3 weeks after my start date. Yes, they did too, tell you in orientation. I said, no, they didn't. Well, and furthermore, I explained to her that I never get help with anybody at the office. They never return my calls or say when they get back to me when they say they will. I've tried to be respectful. I am respectful, and it's not working. And furthermore, like the office lady didn't even send the information when I went to the last school, didn't even send the information to the school that they needed to clear me to work with my student. I had to email them the information. Oh, well, that's not her fault. That's not her fault. Well, if somebody doesn't work there anymore or they don't get the email, how's that her fault? And I just, at this point, I was done with the conversation. I just wanted to disconnect because it's like her people get all the grace in the world, but it's like she has some type of issue with me, and she was never gonna own up to the fact that this situation is because of how you run your organization. So I was like, whatever. I didn't say that, but I was just trying to get off the phone because my mental health was suffering because of how I'm being talked to. So we got off the phone. 30 minutes later, I have a email from the admin team of the company saying, we're going to pull you from your case. We're pulling you from your case until you have a formal meeting with the owner and quality directors. And I wrote an email back and said, I'm not having a meeting with anybody to be berated, to be talked down to be emotionally abused or anything. I don't want to have this meeting. And at this point, I was kind of done with the company, and I think the owner knew that. So the next email, when I refused the meeting, she says, well, you're not getting paid at all this week because you didn't turn in your paperwork. So they said it went from you turned in your paperwork late till you didn't turn it in at all because I wouldn't have this meeting. So I sent her a text message. I was like, I turned in my paperwork on time on the Google Drive. But if you want the physical paperwork, I will physically put it in the Dropbox and you'll have it. And there's no reason for you not to pay me other than you being spiteful and hate-filled. And I wish you nothing but the best. You curse me and have some type of internal issue with me, but I've done nothing to you, but here you go. And I kid you not, in a snowstorm, it was snowing bad. It was slick. And I delivered the paperwork. I sent them an email telling them I sent the paperwork. So the next day they say they're still not going to pay me because I need to submit the paperwork that I've already submitted from October and November to get paid for January. But they already had that physical paperwork because it was their policy that at the end of the month, you are to turn in the physical paperwork from that month. So I'd already given them that paperwork. So they're saying, we're not paying you at all until you turn in that paperwork. We need your badge back. We need a binder back. And the binder had nothing but blank timesheet forms. Like it's no personal health information. They're saying, and you need to come and schedule an appointment and give us these things. And you need to give us our laptop back. Number one, I've never received a laptop from this company. They never gave me a laptop. They were supposed to give me a laptop, but they never gave me a laptop. So I was writing notes for my clients on my own personal laptop. And as far as a badge, I had been lost the badge and the binder. I told them I'll mail you the binder, but I'm not coming into a hostile environment where I know people don't like me because my fear is they're still not gonna pay me. They're going to want to lure me into under false pretenses to some false meeting where they can just berate me and emotionally abuse me and batter me. And I've been battered enough. I don't understand why people treat me like this. If I knew the answer, I would tell you, but I'm not going to jail behind this stuff. And that's all that I could see. That's all I can see is a trap and going to jail. And I don't believe I deserve to be put in that type of situation to for people to lie on me, because they've already shown that they're liars. So why would I willingly go to the office where it's 4 people who hate my guts and just me, and for them to lie and say I did things that I didn't do? And plus, they're saying they're not paying me until I return paperwork they already have, and an imaginary laptop that I've never even received from the company. So now they just won't pay me at all. And that's 40 plus hours I worked that I'm not getting paid nothing for. And I don't have any money. I don't have nothing. I can't afford this apartment because I can't even hold down jobs because of how these jobs treat you. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know who I'm going to turn to, and I'm not asking nobody for help. I've called and asked people for help, and nobody wants to help because nobody cares. I even tried to go back to the client to get them, can you sign the paperwork for the last 10 hours that I wasn't able to get his signature for? And the client just blocked my number and won't even answer my calls. And I don't even understand why, why I get treated like this. Why people do me so bad. Why I work so hard and I have nothing to show for it, and there's nobody to go to. People always be like, can't you go home? No, I can't go home. You hear the stories that I'm telling you. There's nowhere to go. There's no one who cares. My auntie, my cousin, they don't care if I live or die. They've told me to kill myself. I don't know. I'm just bringing out, this is the only outlet I have is my YouTube channel. That's the only way I can get anything off of my chest. And then even then people are like, you need help. Why? Because I'm telling the stories about what was done to me. I need help because of what somebody else did to me. I've done everything I could to heal and move on, and I'm trying even now. And I think it's spiritual because even before this happened, I had dreams and people were telling me, shut up, shut up, shut up. Because the enemy doesn't want these stories getting out here. They just want people to suffer in silence. I'm already suffering, so why should I be quiet about what people are doing? How they are to me. And a lot of times I think people do people any type of way when they know you don't got no friends. When they know you don't have no family. They'll do you any type of way. For no reason. Because anything that I've gone through, I will never in my life. I never want nobody to go through and be treated and have gone through the things that I've gone through. I would never wish this on my worst enemy. People just wish the worst on me, and I don't know why. I don't know what I did to deserve to work and not even get paid just on somebody's whim just because they don't like you. And I'm going to keep on posting. Somebody said my stories helped them. Oh, I'm glad this helped somebody. I'm standing in the need of help myself. And there's nobody around. I look around and there's nobody there. There's nobody I can turn to. I'm all alone. And I wish it was different. I've prayed to God. Please bring me people, Lord. Please bring me people who care about me, who will surround me and give me the love that I need. And I'm not talking about a man. I'm not talking about a husband. I just want a community so I don't feel so alone. I don't even. Sometimes the way people treat me got me feeling like am I better off dead if I can't even provide basic things for myself like shelter, food, like my life has become a nightmare that I can't wake up from. I've done everything I could think to do. I've sought therapy. I moved away from the toxic environment. 800, 700 miles away, I moved hoping for a better life. But it's gotten worse. And I wish I could have something to say like, oh, but I believe in it, but I have faith, but I don't right now, and I wish I did, but I don't see no light at the end of the tunnel right now out of this circumstance. So if there's anybody out there who can just pray for me, that's all I want is somebody to pray. And I hope God helps me. And that's all I got to say now. If there's anybody out there who's listening and is looking on me with kindness and not trying to hurt me or not trying to laugh at my situation, and want to send out well wishes, positive vibes, then that's fine. That's what I need. And that's the only reason why I'm doing this is I just don't want, I'm tired of just feeling so alone. But yeah, thank you for listening to me. I don't know if I'll ever heal. I don't know if things will ever get better, but I'm still, I never stopped trying. I never ever in my life have ever stopped trying. Not even now. That's why I'm posting on YouTube. So yeah, thank you. Bye bye.